What's good guys, it's Ida and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, please subscribe. I post as often as I can. Make sure you turn those notification bells so you can be notified every time I post. Alright, so I told you guys in a previous video, if you haven't seen it already, go watch that. But I'm doing a 3-part how to cornrow your own hair series. So in part 1, I showed you guys how to do a simple cornrow. So basically how to actually start the braid and go back to the middle of your head. If you guys don't know how to already do a cornrow, whatever you want to call it, then make sure you watch my previous videos. I'll show you how to not only do it on yourself, but I have another one that I posted, I think like 3 or 4 years ago, where I'm showing you how to do it on other people's heads. So watch those two. And in today's one, I'm going to show you how to do different size cornrows. I'm going to show you how to do it from different angles, and yeah, how to make sure that they're all kind of straight and you're not going off into one crazy diagonal mess. I'll be using a wide tooth comb just to make sure my hair is nice and detangled. I'll also be using a rat tail comb, mainly use the comb bit or even sometimes the rat tail bit to just do my partings, and also some hair bands. So just like my previous video, I'm going to flip the screen just so that it looks like you're looking into a mirror and things just become just that little bit easier. I'm going to start off with the big braids. Okay, so for this I'm just going to do a middle parting. I'm not really looking at what I'm doing. If you guys don't know how to do partings, oh look at me, I'm talking about partings and look at this mess. It's not really that hard. All you gotta do is follow your line. So say if you do you do one bit here and then you pull out the comb, kind of keep your finger there and then try to follow where your finger left off, pull the comb out, and I just do it in 3 lines. So I just do 1, 2, 3, because doing it in one big go is not the best idea, especially if you have a lot of hair. So doing it in sections helps a lot more. So remember I said you should know how to actually do a cornrow/cornrow. You guys know I say both. So I call it a cornrow because that's what I was raised calling it down in London. That's what we call it. And I say cornrow because I know the majority of my viewers are in America, and I'm just like now switching between the two. But remember, we section off an area. So now if I'm doing a big chunky cornrow, I'm going to want to do a triangular section. So when I was doing it before in the front, I was doing kind of like just a rectangle or a square, but because I'm kind of going like this way, I want to do a triangular parting. So there's the somewhat triangle, and remember we're separating that into 3. My middle finger's going behind and grabbing that one, and bam, that is my first section. Now when you're doing a big chunky one, you want to grab more hair. So in order to do that, I use more fingers. So at the beginning it's not too bad, you're just going normal, you know, middle one's grabbing the hair, and again middle one's going through grabbing some hair. I'm just going to keep going, but the bigger the area gets, you want to do a longer reach. And now I'm using index finger and my thumb to help me pinch more hair. So I'm going to grab the hair for my middle finger to then grab and hook. So let's do that again. Okay, we've got our parting sectioned off. 1, 2, clamp, cool. My hand is free. So now I'm going to start. I'm going to grab normally, grab, and what angle is coming from? Here. So now my index finger, which you can't even see, my index finger and my thumb are gonna grab some hair and help my middle finger on the opposite hand to grab it. I'm gonna keep going, don't worry. So my index finger, you can't see it, but it's like hidden in between there. It's going to help my thumb. My thumb is now going to scoop up some hair and pinch it with my index finger and bring it to my middle finger to grab. It's so hard to explain because you guys cannot see what's happening underneath it, but it's literally like my thumb is scooping up some hair, grabbing it with my index finger so that the opposite hand's middle finger can grab that section and pull it in towards me. Now let's try again. So I'm doing it with that hand. My thumb here is dragging that up to my index finger, and you see where they join here. Now my middle finger here is going to grab that piece off of my other hand. But again, here, it's grabbing and pulling and hooking. Yeah? Are we kind of getting it? Okay, let's keep going. Let me go a bit further down. Here, the scooping, you see this scoop section, this scoop movement, scooping it up to where my middle finger is on my left hand, and that is now hooking that, and I can let go. It's doing the same on the opposite hand, it's just easier to show this side. So again, we're scooping up and my middle finger on my left hand is picking that hair. The same thing is happening on the opposite side. Well, this one we've got a bit more of a reach, but I can't reach so far. So this thumb is going to help pull it in. And there. This thumb is helping to pull it in. So it's like pulling it in to almost like a clutch. And here we're scooping in and we're grabbing it. The same thing's happening here. I'm scooping here and grabbing it. And it's going to get easier the further down you go. Now I don't really have to use my thumb because there's not that much of a reach. I could just do it with my middle finger. So that's how I do the big sections. I'm using my thumbs and scooping in the sections either towards my index finger depending on how wide the reach is. But when we get to like this area near the ear, then it's a bit of a bigger one. It's like scoop and clutch it in to your hand, and then your middle finger on the opposite hand can now grab that piece off and then continue down with the opposite hand as well. It looks a bit messy, but I'm teaching you how to do it. So that's how you do a bigger one. I'm going to do it just my normal speed on this side. So we section off an area, a triangular piece, because we're going kind of diagonally. We take one section on the side, one section on the other side, and we're leaving that top section there, and then bring it over and I start going down. At the beginning it's not too bad, but then now I'm starting to scoop up. Do it this way. Now I'm starting to scoop it up. And also depending on how short your hair is, you might want to do this into a couple of sections, not just two, maybe 4 different ones. Because now my hair's gone to a length where I can easily pick this up and it not be sticking out. It helps a lot. So that's how I do my chunkier braids. And now we're going to move on to smaller ones. Now this is around the size of a cornrow that I would typically do on my own head. Because when you have cornrows this thin, you want to make sure that your partings are nice and neat. Otherwise, it's just not going to look as smooth, as crisp as you want it to. Just like when we do the other cornrows, we're going to start off with a small section at the front. Here's my section, a lot thinner. It's like pieces of hair. You could even go smaller than this, but for the sake of showing you, I'm going to make it this thin. So now we are going to separate again, really small sections, yeah? And do the same thing, but just everything is a lot smaller. So when we do the medium one, it's like just nice grabs. When we do the big one, we're scooping and grabbing. When we do the small cornrows, we want to use small little bits of hair, okay? It's a lot harder to see when it's smaller. See, I'm just grabbing like the tiniest little pieces of hair, literally. Can you see that little section there that was on my thumb? This one here, that's the piece of hair I just grabbed. And you want to make sure it's nice and tight to your scalp as well. See, here's a hot mess. So that is my thin cornrows. You can even see, you can barely see any hair on either side. You know that when you have bigger ones, you can see that you've grabbed hair towards the middle, but with these ones, all you can really see is scalp and plait. And that's what I personally like when I'm doing my own hair. I just like it to be thin and it stays neater for longer and it just looks fresh and looks crisp. So that is how I would do a thinner one. If you want to see a medium sized one next to it, there, in. You see with the medium one, I'm grabbing a bit more hair. My movements are a lot bigger, quicker. And this one's not that neat. And you can see that there's hair on either side. You can see hair here, you can see hair here, whereas that one, you can barely see any. And in order to make sure that your plaits are actually stay central, make sure you grab hair from both sides and about the same amount of hair on each side. Somebody actually messaged me and asked me how to keep your cornrows actually in a straight line rather than going diagonal once you're doing your design. So this one is like almost adjacent, is adjacent the right word? Almost adjacent to your eyelid, your eye corner. So it will be at that angle. So your first cornrow would be here. Then I get here, my next cornrow would be at this angle, yeah? I don't mind my edges, let's not confuse you with them. My next one would be here. Then my next one would be here. And as my head starts to curve, so does my angle. It doesn't keep going straight. It is now more. So if I was like here, I'm more like here. I don't know the actual degrees, but it would be like, it's just slightly thinner at the front, but then it makes the rest of it at an angle. Yeah. So that now I get to the top of my head and these can just go straight back, straight back, straight. So now that I've reached the top where the middle of my head is, it is going literally like almost in line with my nose. Straight back. And that just takes a lot of practice. Learning how your head curves and learning how to adjust the angle of your plaits or your partings so that they curve along with your head. If I had kept going in this same angle that my comb is, by the time I get here, my hair is all just going, it would have been like this. It would literally be me going like this. Rather than keeping your comb at the same angle, turn it so that it matches your head shape. Maybe even it's best to start off with the front. If you start off doing this section, then you can kind of learn how to angle the rest of them so that it's all straight back. My last point that I want to touch on for this part of the series is how to do your head like this. So we've been holding our hands like this the whole time, but now if you're doing a French braid, what do you call those plaits across your head? If you're doing a plait that goes across your head like that, your hands might be at a different angle. Or even if I want to plait this, my hands will be at a different angle. So I'm going to show you two ways that I hold my hand. I've shown you the first one already, but the next one I'm going to do this section of my head here because I tend to hold my hands differently here, which makes it slightly easier for me at some points. So there's a parting. And by the way, if you are doing your hair straight back, make sure that you're taking a little bit of hair when it comes to behind the ears so that you have enough hair to go around and you don't end up having not enough hair by the time you get to this side of your head. You want to make sure you're taking small amounts at the bottom because remember, you've got a lot more area at the front of your head than you do right at the back. So take less at the back and more at the front. So I'm parting the section off as I usually do, but instead of my hands being like this, which they could be, it could be exactly how I usually show you, but it's a bit more of a reach for your right hand because it has to go all the way across. This time I'm having my right hand underneath and my left hand on top. Still doing the same hand movements with my middle fingers going under and grabbing, and it's going under the middle section and grabbing, but this time my hand is a bit more comfortable than it would be if it was all the way reaching for the opposite side. I always find that these plaits tend to be neater for me when I do it at this angle. And then it also makes it a lot easier to carry on down to the end of my hair. Because I wasn't actually looking at what I was doing, it ended up being a lot more towards this edge. But if I just placed my hands a bit more and looked, then it will be a bit higher up. As you can see, there's two ways to hold your hand. So I could have had my hands like this and plaited this way, but it would just be a lot more tiring for this arm. Whereas if I do it this way, I kind of get the same result. Obviously, if I just looked at it, I would have been a lot more in the middle, and it looks pretty good to me. I don't know about you guys, but when it comes to trying to do a plait across my head, I find it hard to part for some reason. So I like to start in the middle. So I just put my comb where I think I want it to be. So my rats go there, comb it back, and then just curve it round. And obviously, when I need to fix it, I fix it. So now I can see what I've done. I can make it a bit more precise. There. And then just carry it onto the other side. Voila. Now I've done that, just tie that back. Just make sure it's, might need to fix a bit of it, but it's not that deep right now. So when it comes to doing a cornrow one side to the next, you want to start right on this end. So just like before, you want to do your parting and then just move your hair. Oh, with a comb might be a bit easier. And grab this piece. And now my right hand is over and it is parting and parting there, and that's the first movement. Just like before, but just at a different angle. And we may start having to use my pinching method again, so you can see that a lot better. Pinching in, pinching in. I would always suggest looking at a mirror when doing this, so you can just make sure it's nice and neat. Pinching in. As we get to the top, I'm going to turn for you. This is a good technique if you want to do a mohawk, because I used to always do a mohawk style. Like being able to plait your hair up in this direction like that, because that's when you get your mohawk. You just put the hair bands at the end, then you can have a big piece of hair here, do the same on the other side, and bam. I used to love that hairstyle. The more you do it, the more it becomes like second nature, and your hands just know exactly what to do just by looking at the hair you want to pick up. Then it just gets thinner towards the end. And there we have it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you learned loads in this video. Make sure you tune into part 3 where I'll be showing you how to cornrow from the back down and the back up. Until next time guys, peace, love and light.